going to run through 3 examples on writing the trig function from a graph. And again, it's going to be fairly elementary. We're not going to do anything too weird here. So let's go ahead and get started on the example. Now, there is a lot of gotchas on these, but we're going to pretty much keep it simple. First of all, we're going to tell you which function you're going to write, cosine or sine. And again, we're kind of skipping tangent, which is kind of sad. I like tangent. And we're going to find the amplitude, period, phase shift, vertical shift, and then go ahead and write a function. There can be more than one answer to these things, but we're going to keep the most basic one. So we're determined to write the cosine function. So let's go ahead and get our amp. Our amplitude is how far above and below the equilibrium. Well, this looks like our equilibrium, y equals 0. So we're 3 above, 3 below, so our amp is 3. Our period, you want to go from peak to peak or trough to trough. That's one of the easiest ways to find it. So it looks like our period is going to be 2 pi. Again, nothing too dramatic. Phase shift. Well, phase shift is something this is probably going to be the hardest part of it all. And remember, cosine starts high and goes low. So it looks like it started high and it's going low. So there doesn't appear to be any phase shift. So there's not going to be any. And vertical shift, our equilibrium stays the same. So it looks like there's not going to be anything there as well. So now it's just up to writing our functions, y equal to. And amplitude, cosine, we're at 2 pi, so my theta stays the same, my x stays the same. I can use x or theta. And there's no left, right, or up or down, so it's going to be 3 cosine x. And we're done. That's it. Next example. So again, we're told cosine. I really should have picked an example with sine, but it makes no difference. We're good. We're fine. Maybe I'll find an additional one for tomorrow's live lesson. So what we have is cosine. And remember, cosine starts high and goes low. Okay, so I'm not seeing that here. We could have a reflection possibly. But again, we're going to, and I said there's going to be more than one way to skin this cat. So there can be multiple answers. But let's keep it simple. Let's take a look at, okay, here's 1 and here's 1. So that's negative 0.50, 0.51, 1.52. It looks like our amplitude is a 1. All right, so that changed. Let's go peak to peak. Well, that stayed the same. We're looking at 2 pi here. All right. Phase shift. Well, this is where it can get a little philosophical. Someone could say, well, I think I reflected it. Well, that's a possibility. You could reflect it across the x. All right, so that means you would have multiplied your a by -1. But let's go ahead and call this a phase shift. I'm going to say we went right because we normally would have started here, and we went right 1 full pi. But no, someone in the back row says, no, Mr. Fields, we went left 1 pi. Well, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. All right. Both are correct. So I'm going to say we went right 1 pi. Someone else is going to say left 1 pi. Someone's going to say we reflected. Any correct answer will do. And we didn't, our equilibrium stayed the same, so we have a vertical shift of 0. So I can write this as y is equal to cosine of x minus pi, whereas someone in the back, not going to say Marie or anybody, is going to write y is equal to cosine of x plus pi. All right? And someone's going to say, well, I'm going to put a negative here. We're not going to have any transformations. I can say, okay, we'll deal with that. Next one, and our last one. So here we have to determine our amplitude, but that means we have to understand what our equilibrium is. Our equilibrium is right here is y is equal to 2, it looks like. Looks like it to me. So I know we have a vertical shift going on here, and I'm 1 above and 1 below. So our amp is 1. Okay, so let's go peak to peak here. Peak to peak, I could have gone trough to trough. Looks like my period is pi. Well, that's going to change our equation a good bit. Did we phase shift? Well, we started high and went low. We're looking for the cosine function. So I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think there's a phase shift. I'm going to put 0. Someone could say, well, phase shift 2 pi, you just don't see it. Well, okay, or phase shift pi. Well, if you want to. And we, as I already said, we went up 2. All right. So since we're doing the cosine function, we're going to have y is equal to 1 cosine. All right. I don't need to write the 1 cosine. And here's the tricky. This is pi. Now remember, period is equal to 2 pi over b. What does b have to be to get this to equal to 1 pi? You just do 2 pi over b is equal to 1 pi. Multiply by that, you're going to have b is equal to 2. All right? So we're going to write this as just regular cosine of 2x. Put that in parentheses. All right? Plus 2. There we go. And that is it. Alrighty, I will get this uploaded to YouTube, Canvas, WebEx, all those places, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.